Hi guys, welcome back to the podcast Strutting with God. This is your host Fernanda Sakira, and this is the very first visual podcast. So thank you very much to those listening and or watching. I do want to mention that the podcast is still going to be available via the platforms that you have listened to in the past, like Anchor, Spotify, etc. We're just adding on the availability to watch me record it. I'm going to post it on YouTube and then share it on Facebook like I normally do. So this is just going to be something a little bit different. And also, if you notice, I did post a little bit late than I usually do on Saturday mornings because I am doing something visually. And especially since it's the first time, it did take a little bit of getting used to and making sure I had the right, production equipment to ensure this happens. That's why it's very important for me not to make any mistakes, because I'm not able to edit this because I am currently recording while I'm recording the podcast. So please bear with me if there's a lot more ums and a lot more pauses, because I do want to make this some sort of a conversation and make this very comfortable and a lot less production-y, because I do believe that building relationship doesn't have to be some sort of form. It's just any type of relationship, and that's the type of relationship that I also want you and us to build with God, is just an informal, just conversational relationship with Him. And I want to make this podcast reflect that in that manner as well. I also have another announcement. I have created an email account for the podcast. So any questions, any concerns, any comments, you are more than welcome to send me an email. The email is going to be strutwithgod@gmail.com. I did not put strutting with God because, even though I'm ashamed to admit, I would be the type of person who would question themselves. I'm like, okay, is there two T's? Where does all the T goes? And so I just decided to keep it plain and simple and just put strut with God, so that doesn't deter you from emailing. I'm very excited to read your guys' email and see any questions or concerns or comments, and I will try my best to respond to every single one of you guys. And thank you so much for all the support that everyone's giving, all the kind words, all the encouraging messages that you guys been providing. I appreciate that. It makes my day and warms my heart. So I'm glad that this is helping someone out there, and that's the main focus of this podcast, is at least one person. It's affecting one person in their relationship with God. Then I've done what I believe God wanted me to do, the intention of this podcast. I do want to keep this podcast a little bit short because it is a video, and I do feel like everyone has so many other things going on in their lives right now that they need to attend to. But I do want to throw in a quick word as far as, their strut with God and their daily strut with God. I want to provide small choices that we are able to make during this time. I feel like right now we do have ample time, even though that time isn't very luxury for a lot of people, isn't leisure time for a lot of people. A lot of time, this is a time where people are worrying and are scared and have anxiety and they have fears. So I don't want to take this time that people are having lightly, because some people are going through a lot right now. And so, but I do want to provide small choices and small decisions that one can make while strutting with God. I feel like people have to dive right in. They think that, making God your choice is giving up everything right there and then, like that 1 second, change your complete life around, no look back. And that's not really the case. I believe that it is small choices that end up to that point where your life is drastically changed, and you look back and be like, wow, who I was 5 years ago is nowhere close to who I am now. That's not going to happen in a day. And I feel like when someone feels as if they didn't make the right choices and they made a mistake, that one day they tend to deter from God and moving forward. And so I want to make people realize that these are daily choices and daily walks with God that we have to make, that no matter what is going on, as long as we make those choices, no matter what happened the day before, as long as you make it the day after, you can continue on going. Don't be afraid to, just because your lifestyle doesn't match what you believe being a Christian is, that deters you from receiving his grace. God provides grace to those who haven't spoken to him in years, and continues to give grace to those people who talk to him every day, because guess what? That person sins. We all sin. There's not a perfect person, and if they're telling you that they don't sin, they're lying to you. Try your best not to, of course, but everyone does, and it's not our room to judge. It's God. So I want to provide just small choices that we can do every day that hopefully leads you into having your life reflect how you want it to look. The very first one is going to be putting God first. To me, that means, waking up in the morning and being thankful and being grateful that you have breath. I wholeheartedly believe that if you woke up, that God's not done with you. You still have purpose. God still has a plan for your life. God still wants to use you. And so waking up and having life is something to be grateful for. Some people don't wake up the next morning. Either that be a loved one or a friend, either it be due to unknown causes or due to diseases going on around the world, or any sort of cancer or anything of that nature. It happens. And so we have to be grateful for what we currently have. I think if you put at least the first 10, 15 minutes of your day to reflect on your own life and pray. If you don't know how to pray, or you don't think that you're doing it right, there's no such thing as wrong prayer. God, you have to start somewhere. As long as you have some sort of conversation with God, I believe, and just tell him everything that you're thankful for, everything that you are grateful for in your life, everything that you have. It may not seem like you have much, but just look around and see everything that you have, even when you don't have it. Just be thankful for what you do have. And the best miracle is just waking up in the morning. That's the number one. I'll help you out on that one. Just be thankful that you woke up. And I do believe even listening to worship music, listening to the song, a very popular song that people know, even if you don't follow the faith, is Oceans. I love that song. I think it's a very general song that everyone knows because it is so beautiful. And I'm so thankful that this song was written, because so many people resonate with it. And even if they don't believe in faith, it's still a song that touches you and makes you feel some sort of way. So definitely, start doing that. And these are steps that you can take. You may not feel something, you may not understand what's going on, but if you do it daily, it will start to grow on you, and then you will actually praise him the way that the song intends to, and you will actually start doing and feeling God's presence in your life. So the first one is definitely put God first, the very first at least 15 minutes of your day, and you'll see how throughout your day you start doing it on your own, throughout your day as well, not just the beginning. And it's a really great thing to do when that's the first thing you tend to do, is to speak to God first. It's a great transition, and you will start being really excited to see your mind actually being transformed. The next one is going to be serve God faithfully. I think that, if you wake up in the morning and you accept God into your life, you will start getting impressions in your heart as well to serve him. And now that doesn't mean just being nice to make your heart warm and fuzzy. It also means stepping out of your comfort zone sometimes. This podcast to me was me stepping out of my comfort zone. I don't have, a theology background. I don't have any formal training at all when it comes to this. I'm speaking about my own journey through my faith. I'm speaking about my own faith-based knowledge, which is not much. I'm currently going through it. I don't feel like my life currently reflects how I want it to look. I'm currently building it as I go along. But I feel as if someone can relate to that and not be scared to move forward in their faith as well, because they have someone that they're like, okay, this person also doesn't, see their life the way they want it to be. They're still working on themselves and figuring out how to walk in their own path as well. And hopefully that helps that person walk as well. Our job is just to bring the loaves and the fish to God, and God will do the rest. He will break it and multiply it. So that's what I'm doing. This podcast to me is definitely out of my comfort zone. But hey, to be honest, at least I'm doing it, and I'm so happy I am. I've just seen the people it's affected so far. It's just amazing. I didn't think that it was going to be that much. So thank you again to you guys, just letting me say yes to God and you guys supporting it. I truly grateful. So thank you very much. The next thing would be to make those choices again every day. Definitely be grateful for God, put him first. Start serving God faithfully, even if it brings you out of your comfort zone. And the third thing that I think is very important is to speak faith or speak life every day. That can be very difficult for some people, and that sentence is already contradictory to the point. I think speaking life is very difficult for people to themselves. I think that some people know how it feels, and so it's very easy for them to hype other people up or to give positivity to others, but people tend to neglect themselves. They do not speak to their own person in a light way. And I think, to me, I never understood it. I would always, put my own self down. And to me, it wasn't a big deal until you hear someone you love, like a child, say things negatively about themselves. It breaks your heart. And to know that that's technically what we're doing. At what age did it start? It most likely started young, and it just continued on into our adulthoods. And we have to realize that we're not only showing this to ourselves, but to the other people around us. And that affects other people. If it's someone that loves you very much, hearing you say that about yourself is just painful to hear. And so I think that we need to start focusing on speaking life and positivity to our own self. I challenge you to write a sticky note, and put it on a mirror, in the first mirror that you see in the morning, and just put a list of affirmations about yourself and repeat them to yourself every single day, even if you don't currently believe it. Just to being able to speak life into yourself is so beautiful. In the Bible, the tongue is very powerful. God created us. God created everything in the world with just a word. And that's how we were created. So it's very important that we use our language and our tongue in a very profound manner, in a manner where you're proud of what you have spoken. Everything needs to be thought through. So on your sticky note, write that you're beautiful, write that you're kind, write that you're smart, write that you're courageous, write that you're creative. Write down the most important one, that you are wonderfully and fearfully made. And repeat those to yourselves over and over and over again every single day. Do it for the week. See what happens after the week. Do it for a month. See what happens after the month. And I truly believe that this is going to be life-changing to some people. You may not see it right away, but once it becomes a daily habit, instead of speaking negatively about yourself, you will start to see all the attributes that you have and all the beauty that you have to bring into this world. So let's go ahead and do that. And another thing that I also want to point out is, on the other side of it, there are people who, like me, I'll be honest, where it's hard to speak life because of your feelings. Sometimes your feelings can take over, and though they are real, your feelings may not be true. And we need to start focusing on responding and not reacting. That's the message that Pastor Jeremy said last week about we need to learn how to respond to things and not react to things. And sometimes in our reactions, we don't speak life. We don't speak positivity. We don't speak things that are beneficial to anyone or anything. And so sometimes we do need to take a step back and reflect on what's going on and take a breather and focus on what is true, which is the Word of God, and respond accordingly. And then once you do that, you will be proud of what you said. You'll be proud of how mature that you are able to respond to the situation instead of relying on a feeling that, to be honest, will go away. Humans have a tendency of feeling different things at different times of the day, so don't let this 5-second feeling ruin a conversation that ruins a relationship or friendship for months or years. So we need to be very gentle and very strategic with our response and not reacting to things. These are just a few tips, a few advice. I wouldn't say tips, advice that I really strongly encourage you to follow or try to do at least one of them. I think right now we're going through a time where no one really knows what's going on. Let's just try something new. Let's try to bring positivity from this. God works everything for our good. And let's try to come out of this as better people and learning and being more mature human beings. Thank you everyone for listening and or watching. Hello. And I pray that everyone has a fabulous rest of your week. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.